It's the bottom of the second hour of Mornings LATE with What the Chuck. Is Nancy Pelosi setting up Chuck Schumer for the battle of his life next week over a $1,400 third stimulus check? The week ended with Bernie Sanders losing his fight with the Senate parliamentarian. And now is he ready for a fight for his inclusion of a $15 minimum wage? But is Sanders playing into the GOP playbook of holding up stimulus with unnecessary, massive, progressive spending on minimum wage that a state can pass without federal intervention? Amidst concern about where this economy is going. These details that you're hearing for the very first time this morning here on the continuation at the bottom of the hour, Mornings LATE.
LA Late News headquarters in Santa Monica. This is Mornings LA Late.
Good morning, how are you? We're back here on the continuation of Mornings LATE. How are you? It's a big day with confusion across the board as Wall Street has yet to react to the news. You'll react to the news. What is it? Your $1,400 third stimulus check bill could have been a finality by this coming Monday or Tuesday after it was passed in the House of Representatives last night, had they taken out the $15 minimum wage. They did not. So it's going to the Senate on Monday with something in there that it cannot be in there, the $15 minimum wage. And with that is setting up Plan A, Plan B, backup plan. All these plans don't seem to go to a path of success because there may not be enough votes to get these things done. Why not just take it out? The president said himself, take out the $15 minimum wage. He said not once, not twice, take it out. He said, I put it in there. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, said, I put it in there. I didn't intend to put it in there. It was a mistake to put it in there. Well, then take it out. He did not take it out. And this comes after a news report I detailed on Friday that the president is not watching what's going on in the Senate and the House. He's leaving it up to Chuck Schumer. This is what the Chuck. And the reason why this is being brought up in this recording, for an obvious reason, is that the president reportedly is not keeping his leadership intact in the Senate among Democrats. He's leaving that up for Chuck Schumer to do. And is that a good idea? It may not, because suddenly now Chuck Schumer has a bill that can't work, landing on Monday in the Senate chambers, and the bill can't work. Wall Street ended down Friday. Dow ended 469 down. NASDAQ was up 72 points on Friday. Of course, on Thursday, NASDAQ took the worst tumble since October. The reaction from on Wall Street coming up in a second. But the GOP is already setting up this as a potential bird bath, I guess you would say, because the bird rule next week. It's not so much what the current administration plans to do with the $1 trillion of unspent money. The question is whether they just want to spend everyone's money. The provisions are really at issue. There's a basic question that would come up during a family budget discussion with less than zeros. That's a comment by Representative Ten Budd. There's too much to ask when there's $1 trillion of unspent funds, especially when we toss another $2 trillion into the package. What is he talking about? What the president doesn't want to remind you is that $4 trillion was spent last year. Then $2 trillion is being proposed right now. And the question is, where is all that unused money? Is there unused money that Chuck Schumer's not explaining to us? Mark Goodwin, Senior Vice President, Senior Policy Director of the Committee for Responsible Budgeting, says that just because there's money unspent doesn't mean there aren't needs still needing. Jason Furman, who is chief economist, says Congress doesn't legislate once a month for the bills coming up for next month. It's so much better to pass money 3 months in advance rather than waiting 3 months later when you're middle of fighting a war. That's very well said. That has been sort of what the viewers of this channel, myself, has said for a while. Don't wait till the last second to pass a third stimulus package bill. This should have been passed on day one. We are not on day one of this administration anymore. $1,400 is a third stimulus check for individual, $1,400 for children, $1,400 for adult dependents. Double that for married couple. Also $3,600 for children under the age of 5, $3,000 for children under the age of 17 to 6, plus $1,400, $1,700 for financial aid, money across the board for other provisions like $1,500 for hazard pay worker who made less than $25,000, FPUC, UI, PUA for March to August extended, FPUC $400 a week. There's a lot of stuff in there. But what is Chuck going to do now that he has a bill that's not allowed to survive this way? You saw in the recording right before this that Bernie Sanders and here's Bernie, and here is Ron Wyden. Some people were saying, who is that? That's Ron Wyden, Democrat in the Senate, have these backup plans. But why are we doing backup plans? Senator Lindsey Graham reacted to the situation. He says the Democrats are spending money like there's no tomorrow. It's a liberal wish list. Yeah, we've heard that expression before. Michael Strain, Director of Economic Policy Studies at Conservative Institute, says Congress should be nervous about spending another $202 million in the mix. I don't agree. We're far from a return to a normal state, says Kathy Bosnazik. You have such a hole, a deficit where you're falling from where the economy was on track previously. That's one issue. But the bigger issue is if we're holding up a bill because of something, why is it not SSI and SSDI at $200 a month? Drop in the comments. I want to see. If you're gonna hold up this bill for something, what would you hold it up for? FPUC retro? $200 a month for SSI and SSDI? Suddenly we're holding up a bill for $15 minimum wage. It's like it went from here. Well, let's get the hand down here. It went from here to suddenly here. It's sort of like the bond market out of control. Suddenly $15 minimum wage federal was not a big issue just a few days ago. And suddenly it's just, I don't want to use a verb that's too dramatic, but it's sort of become the elephant in the room out of nowhere. Now, what I want to go over is something that's really surprising, and this is not purple, of course, which goes over that state stimulus, that money that's unspent. But a new report says that there is unspent money that has not been given to you by Treasury. Here's Janet Yellen. Under the prior stimulus packages, the National Association of Budget Offices say that on average, 97% of their initial rounds of funding have been sent to states, but they've only spent 77% of it. It's like your garden needs water, but you need so much more than a hose to get that water out. That's the problem. You just can't get the water out fast enough. Well, why are we talking about $15 minimum wage? There's a lot of money in the third stimulus package that we need, and we need it now. And $15 minimum wage wouldn't even take effect under this bill for many years. Now, and later in this recording, at the second half of this recording, I have great news from Representative House Appropriations Chair De Leora Democrat out of Connecticut, that has a long-awaited restoration of earmarks, congressional earmarks, which, if you read it, maybe it could give us that assistance for those left-out provisions that we want in the third stimulus package. What a day it is. The big question as you sit here is, what is Chuck going to do? What is Chuck going to do now that Ron Wyden's already talking about backup plans, now that we're hearing about Bernie Sanders with backup plans? On Friday, the reports were clear. that President Trump has not gotten his Democratic caucus in the Senate together to focus on passage of the bill, that he's leaving it up to Chuck Schumer, who, according to his chief ally, Chuck Schumer is reportedly working 48 hours to get this done. That's good. Got to commend the majority lead. But it doesn't work when they're not trying to get one thing passed. They got one man with one plan and another man with another plan. And then you have the Treasury saying, let's do it this way. You got 4 different plans. This ain't cohesive. This ain't cohesive. What the chuck? What the chuck? Suddenly, we had gone into early Friday with such an easy path. We were sitting here saying, okay, $1,400 is in the third stimulus package. The bill could be passed by the Senate early part of the next week. We could have the money going out by the end of the next week. We could have EIDL grants of $5,000 if you have less than 10 employees and have a reduction of your workforce by 50%. We could have had that money going out in just a few within 14 days, because the law says it has to be paid in 14, 15 days. And if it's not, then it's paid in a shorter period of time after that. Suddenly they're not doing that. Suddenly they're not doing that. Suddenly they're plan A and plan B and then back to the House. And then if that doesn't work, then we got another plan. I got to tell you, none of these plans look like they go from A to Z. They look like they go to A to B and then back to A and then over to C and then back to D. This is Chuck Schumer. This is Chuck Schumer. He's not roping them in. The fight over the parliamentarian is not a new fight. We knew about this on January 20th when the president came into office. They knew that the president had minimum wage in there, and they knew highly likely it was not going to fly. So if it wasn't going to fly, then what? Who's going to call the shot? Leave it in, take it out. The president said take it out. He appeared on CBS News, said take it out. Nancy didn't take it out. So what's going on here? The president specifically saying take it out. She doesn't take it out. She calls her for a vote yesterday, doesn't take it out. Then it's in there. And now we got one person, another person, 2 different people doing all these backup plans, none of which look like they can get from point A to point B. And we have Chuck Schumer sort of sitting and saying, GOP this, GOP that. No, the problem is you should have followed exactly what the president said. The president said, don't go to the mat on this. The president had given very clear instructions to Schumer, don't go to the mat on this, Chuck. Do not hold up $1,400 stimulus check. Do not hold up $3,600 for adult dependents. Do not hold up all these particular provisions. So thank you, Ira, for the massive super chat. I really appreciate it. So what could happen next? I have more about that coming up right after this commercial. What is Chuck Schumer going to do with this confusion on Monday? What the Chuck continues after this break.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. and then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late.
And we're back. Boy, what a day.
From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LA Late.
You know, what is Chuck gonna do? It's sort of a big mess. There's no other way to say it. If you're joining me right now, this is what the tail end of Mornings LA. We started at 9 a.m. 4 shows. Mornings LA Late is now a 2-hour programming block. Starts at 9 a.m. with Mornings LA. At the bottom of the hour was Purple. Then at the top of the hour, the continuation of Mornings LA. And now What the Chuck. I'm back with you right after this with the debut of our new midday show, Noontime on LA Late. That's a 2-hour programming block, and the big update across the board as to what happened last night shortly right after this video. There's a lot happening. That video will start in about 5 minutes from now as it's about to wrap. Chuck Schumer has to decide where to call his battles, and he hasn't immediately made that determination. He was given an instruction. The instruction was from the President of the United States, and the instruction was not to hold up the $1.9 trillion, $1,400 third stimulus check package with $15 minimum wage. The instruction was, I will do it as a standalone bill. That was the exact words of the President, not once, not twice, and they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Why did they not follow his instructions? Progressives are to blame? Question mark. Wishful thinking? Question mark. I think no. I think the reports are accurate that the president thinks he could pass it by standalone bill and can't. The reports say the president would never get Republicans to support $15 minimum wage. He would not get it. He would need some Republicans to vote in favor of it. He can't do it just with the Democratic caucus, of which he doesn't even have all the senators online for it. So he knew he couldn't pass $15 minimum wage as a standalone bill, but yet he said he was going to do it. Nancy and Chuck Schumer understands he can't do it as a standalone bill. So what are the options? $11 an hour. That is not Ron Wyden's option. There was a consideration of doing this separately on a different week and a different month. Let me make something clear. This does not need to be done now. There is no urgency for the $15 minimum wage. Bernie Sanders, I could say something a little bit stronger than I may say in this recording, but Bernie Sanders did not go to the mat for your $2,000 stimulus check last year, and now is trying to hold up your $1,400 stimulus check for something that has nothing to do with this year. The minimum wage would not be paid out this year. It doesn't make sense. It just makes no sense. And if he has a real big issue about minimum wage, have his state pass minimum wage. California raised our minimum wage. States can raise minimum wage. Cities and counties can raise minimum wage. The report suggests that even raising minimum wage would kill 1 million jobs in the country. This is after this country only created 6,000 new jobs in the month of January. It's not a good environment to be creating more, killing more jobs. The numbers overnight are facing sort of treasury yields going crazy. Quincy Crosby, Prudential Financial Chief Market Strategist, says despite the unruly nature of the treasury sell-off, credit spreads remain contained, but the spread widens materially and a sell-off ensues. The Fed will have to do something to worry about it. Worry about it. I mean, we're talking about treasury problems and worrying about treasuries. We have enough other issues to be worried about. That $14 stimulus check, EIDL, money for hazard pay, the $1,500, teachers' money, the students' money, the kids' money. All this money should be held up. If the market begins to believe that the Fed has somehow lost control of where the bond market is going, all that idea of temper tantrum will show up, says Art Cashin, Director for Operations at UBS, in a statement on Friday. Yes, NASDAQ ended up for the day on Friday and Dow was down, but This is a volatile market. It's not a time and place to be playing with penalizing big businesses. That's the Bernie Sanders plan for next week. Penalizing big business. I don't know. I can't even say it with a straight face. That in the middle of the pandemic, we're penalizing big businesses that want to give you a job. When we should be talking about getting job creation, or Plan B, giving small businesses money to raise your salary. I like that. You're an electrician who has 10 employees. I'll give you $1,000 tax credit if you raise your employees' salaries. Okay, it's not mandatory; it's voluntary. I like that. Let's do that. But don't hold up stimulus. Chuck Schumer needs to choose his fight. And that's why this is what the Chuck Schumer needs to choose his fight. He is not following the president's instruction to take out the minimum wage. His narrative is talking about the GOP, but the real clear focus now is the president made very clear over 3 weeks, take it out. It has not been taken out. Now they are clearly holding up passage based upon something else. His imaging, his optics are going to be very poor on Monday or Tuesday when people look to him and say, we could have had this done. Why are you holding it up? And why are we talking about amendments and changes? The talk last week was no amendments to the bill. Chuck Schumer said no amendments to the bill. Call it for a vote. We're done. $1,400 stimulus check for individuals, $14 for children, $14 for adult dependents, $3,600 for children under the age of 5, $3,000 for children 17 or younger, $1,700 for college students, $1,500 for hazard pay. All this money would have been ready to go, but instead we're battling over something the president said take out. I don't know what the markets are going to look like on Monday when the Dow opens, but you can expect a lot of dramatics. I am back with the new show, Noontime on LA, right after this. It's going to be a biggie, 30 minutes. I'm going to recap the shocking developments overnight and give you more details as more. And if you're just joining me, it's a big day. Noontime is a 2-hour programming block, so get ready to rock and roll. This is LLA.
From Wall Street to